Okay, I think we are set to go. वागर्ताविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्तप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ प्रपञ्चसृष्टिन्मुखलास्य कायै समस्तसंहारकताण्डवाय जगज्जनन्यै जगदेकपित्रे नमः शिवायै च नमः शिवाय वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां हरिः ओम्. त्वत्पादाम्बुजमर्चयामि परमं त्वां चिन्तयाम्यन्वहं त्वामीशं शरणं व्रजामि वचसा त्वामेव याचे विभो वीक्षां मे दिश चाक्षुषीं सकरुणां दिव्यैश्चिरं प्रार्थितां शम्भो लोकगुरो मदीय मनसः सौख्योपदेशं कुरु वस्त्रोद्धूतविधौ सहस्रकरता पुष्पार्चने विष्णुता गंधे गंधवहात्मतान्न पचने बर्हिर्मुखाध्यक्षता पात्रे कांचन गर्भतास्ति मयि चेत् बालेन्दुचूडामणे शुश्रूषां करवाणि ते पशुपते स्वामिन् त्रिलोकी गुरो नालं वा परमोपकारकमिदं त्वेकं पशूनां पते पश्यन् कुक्षिगतान् चराचरगणान् बाह्यस्थितान् रक्षितुम् सर्वामर्त्यपलायनौषधमतिज्वालाकरं भीकरं निक्षिप्तं गरलं गलेन गलितं नोद्गीर्णमेव त्वया ज्वालोग्रस्सकलामरातिभयदक्ष्वेलः कथं वा त्वया दृष्टः किं च करे धृतकरतले किं पक्वजम्बूफलम् जिह्वायां निहितश्च सिद्धगुटिका वा कण्ठदेशो भृतः देशे भृतः किं ते नीलमणिर्विभूषणमयं शम्भो महात्मन् वद नालं वा सकृदेव देव भवतः सेवा नतिर्वानुतिः पूजा वा स्मरणं कथाश्रवणमाप्योलोकनं मादृशां स्वामिन्नस्तिरदेवतानुसरणायासेन किं लभ्यते का वा मुक्तिरितः कुतो भवति चेत् किं प्रार्थनीयं तदा किं ब्रूमस्तव साहसं पशुपते कस्यास्ति शम्भो भवत् धैर्यं चेदृशात्मनस्थितिरियं चान्यै कथं लभ्यते बृष्यद्देवगुणं त्रसन्मुनिगणं नश्यत्प्रपञ्चं लयं पश्यन् निर्भय एक एव विरहति आनन्दसान्द्रो भवान्. So we saw the last two last week, 33 and 34. Shivananda Lahari is one of those Bhakti Prakarana of Shankaracharya. Shankaracharya has written a lot which are Prakarana Granthas, which are on Upanishads, which are on Vedanta Tattva and so on. But by his own, statement in Viveka Chudamani, Moksha sadhana samagriyam bhaktireva griyasi. The best raw material for moksha is bhakti. That's what he said in Viveka Chudamani. So this is a very nice grantha on bhakti. Now, to make a grantha on bhakti is not easy. Because it is not science. It is not a set of concepts. If it is law of gravity or Newton's law, you can easily write it, explain it, maybe give an illustrative example so that certain things are understood. Bhakti is a bhava. It's a bhava. It is a certain approach. It's a certain mood of an individual. It is a certain understanding of an individual about the notion of God, about that individual's relationship with the God, about the individual's perspectives about the God. So, you writing a grantha and bhakti is a little bit challenging because one has to be very deep in it. I mean, that's why, if you read Mukunda Mala, I mean, it is a hair-raising experience. When I say I am finding it difficult to say, because Raja Kulasekara has really steeped into it. That is why it comes like that. Every shloka there, is so wonderful. So in the same way, one has to be deeply into that bhava. And only then there is a verbalization. There is a way you have to state it. There is a way you have to present it and so on. So what we have covered 1/3 of Shivananda Lahari actually out of 100. We are exactly at the 1/3 now. So what we have seen so far is Acharya has taken a completely different approach, unlike his other granthas, because it is a bhava. So he tries to somehow brings the mood of a bhakta. He tries to somehow subtly inform us how the bhakta will approach the God. These are the real things. That's why there is no concept here. But it is our ability to somehow distill that idea. So if you see, all shlokas are like that. For example, he says, Nalamba Sakrideva Deva Bhavata Seta Natirva Nutihi, Seva Natirva Nutihi. He said 6 things here: Nati, Nuti, Puja, Smaranam, Kathashravanam, Alokanam. So it reflects a certain mood and approach. So he says, is it not enough? What else should I do? Is it not enough if I only engage myself with your seva with these things? So, that's what it is. Or in the immediately next shloka, he talks about the great act of halahala, when Samudra Matanam happened, when the, halahala Visha came. How did he consume it? That's why he said, Pashyan Nirbhaya. Everybody, Brashyad Devaganam, Trasan Muniganam. Tras is fear. So Trasan Muniganam and Devaganam, all of them are running. God, it was so ferocious and very scary. It was destroying places. So he ends by saying, Pashyan Nirbhaya Eka Eva Virahati. So you are very, casually, you are alone without any bhaya, and you are just looking at it and you are just playing with it, sort of. So in every shloka that we have seen so far, we saw a series of shloka in which he portrayed Manas in different ways, if you remember, right? It said Manas is like a tent. So he is cajoling Shiva, why don't you come and sit here? Tent has some nice, so all those descriptions are in that. Or my Manas is like a monkey. You are a Kapalin. So if you keep a monkey with you, your collection may be better. So different bhavas, different moods, with which this notion of bhakti is slowly, one step at a time, injected to us. So that is the charm of these bhakti granthas. So the way we partake this is a little different. As you see, this is not like my other lectures. Vedanta is another kind, where there is a bit of a concept, there is a bit of reflection and so on. This is a certain mood. So that's why even in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, if you look at the Bhakti Yoga, you should look at the last 8 shlokas. It takes you to a very different understanding of, it is very difficult to lecture those. Adveshta sarva bhutana maitra karuna evacha arabhya. So it brings a certain mood, it brings a certain perspective. So that is what we are going through. That's why these granthas have their own ways of, putting. That's why even in chapter 7 of Gita, it said Chaturvita Bhaktaha, Arti, Artharti, Jignasa, and Jnani. Bahunam Janmanam Mante, Jnanavan Mam Prapaddade, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, Samhatma Sudurlabha. So in Bhagavad Gita also, although it is a very, what you say, a good Vedantic Grantha, but the second triplet is all about Bhakti. That's why my second book I called it Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat, because that's what it is. The real spirit of Bhakti is you should be able to see the Lord everywhere. Brahmadi Pipilikanta Tanushuhu Prota Jagat Sakshini. Right from that one-celled amoeba and that ant, up to Brahman, you should be able to see. Matta paratram na anyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. Mayi sarvamitam protam sutre manigana iva. So that is the kind of a spirit that you see in Bhakti Granthas. So that is what it is. So even Shivananda Lahari is of that kind of a text. So let us see two more shlokas today. Just move on and see how Shankaracharya takes us through this Bhakti Bhava. Yogakshema durandarasya sakala shreya pradodyogino drishta drishta matopadesha kritino bhyaantara vyapinaha sarvajnasya dayakarasya bhavata kim veditavyam maya shambho tvam paramanandaranga iti me chitte smaramyanvaham. Yoga Kshema Durandarasya is a single samastapada. Yogascha Kshemascha Yoga Kshemaha. Yoga Kshemasya Durandaraha Asya. So that is a samastapada. It's a compound word. Anyway. Yoga Kshema Durandarasya. Sakala Shreyaha. Again, it's a samastapada. Sakala Shreyaha. Prada Udyogino. Pradodyogino. So that is just a sandhi there. Drishta, adrishta, mata, upadesha, kritino. That's what comes. Drishta, adrishta, matopadesha, kritino. So these are all sandhi and samasa, all are playing out there. Bhyaantara vyapin. Bhyascha, antarascha, bhyaantaraha. So that is the first compound word. Bhyaantare vyapinaha, bhyaantara vyapinaha. Again, it's a compound word. See, if you have to learn Sanskrit, you have just learned Sandhi and Samasa. 99% of Sanskrit can be sorted out. Because it's all like that. You have to know only Samasa and Sandhi. If you understand these two basic principles, moment you do a Padacheda, the complexity unknots itself. And we'll be able to make sense of what it is. Sarvajnasya, separate word, Dayakarasya, Bhavataha, Kim veditavyam maya shambho tvam parama antaranga. So that the parama is the adjective for antaranga. Already you are close. Parama antaranga. You are so close to me. That kind of a thing. Paramantaranga iti me chitte smarami anvaham. Smaramyanvaham. In Sandhi, that ikara becomes yakara. Iko Yanachi, that is the sutra. So Smaranyanvaham. Smaramyanvaham. So what is happening here? So Acharya has taken a slightly different mode here. So he says, Yoga Kshema. These two are very important words. The word Yoga and Kshema, right? In Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter, you see. Yoga Kshemam Mahamyam. LIC's logo also, they say Yoga Kshema. The Yoga Kshema is used, you find in many texts. In Arthashastra, it is there. Kautilya says the purpose of a king is to ensure yoga and kshema of the subjects, of the citizens. Today I use the word citizens welfare, no? So in Arthashastra, he says yoga kshema. That is the purpose, that is the very objective of a king. So the word yoga kshema is used in different places, but they all have a very nice meaning. See, this yoga Of course, yoga has other meanings also. I am talking in this context. Yoga, in the context of Yogakshema, the word yoga has a different meaning. I have told it many times. Yog, yug, yunj, yojane, connecting. So, so yoga is which connects with what? Connects with the ultimate. That's why we have to do yoga. Is a way of life, not just the asanas. So that's one meaning of yoga. Yunj, that is the dhatu. The yoga in the context of Yogakshema is also connecting. Actually, meaning is generically connecting, but he has different meaning here. The correct definition for yoga here is apraptasya praptihi yogaha iti uchyate. What we are not able to get, if we get, that is called yoga. That's why casually say, "Unakku yoga irukku." You got it. You are lucky. Nimke yoga ide. We use it in a very common parlance also. Yoga means that which we are unable to get, we get. If somebody is endowed with that, he has yoga. Let's call the meaning. Apraptasya praptihi yoga iti katyate. Yoga hai iti katyate. Then what is kshema? Kshema is praptasya rakshanam. There's no point it comes and goes. See, you can't, let us say, I want to accumulate a little wealth. But wealth comes and wealth goes. There is nothing. Right? So kshema is praptasya poshanam samrakshanam. So these are the two things, in the context of Arthashastra, Kautilya says, people, citizens of the country go after a few things. Somebody wants to take a job, somebody wants to build a house, somebody wants to have a secure living, whatever it is. So the king must ensure that they get it. In a way, easy for them. Get it means you don't have to freely distribute as these politicians are doing today. What it means is make it conducive that mama yoga prapti happens. That's the first, expectation of a king. That's what it says in Arthashastra. Kshema is citizens must make sure that what they get, they don't lose. Somebody is not looting. There is no cheating. There is no, that's what happens sometimes, You get, but then you lose. You have to give speed money and then you lose 1/10 of your, you get 1/10 of what you paid. Maybe sometimes. That is no point. So kshema is our ability to, so citizen must be able to say, I go after a few things, without much hassle I am getting it. And what I get, I can assure I have it. Willingly I can donate it to somebody. That's a different story. So that is called yoga kshema. That's the context here also. What do we need in our life? We all pursue things. What we want to pursue can keep changing. At some stage we may think this is what life is, so we may pursue that. A little later we may think this is what life is, we may pursue something else. But the fact that we are pursuing things don't change. Till death, what is what we are doing? Even moksha is a pursuit only. So therefore, we pursue. So what is Shankaracharya saying? That he's saying, hey Shiva, you always give me the yoga. Which means you make sure that whatever I pursue, I get. That is the yoga. Then kshema is what I get, I should not lose. That also you will ensure. I want something, I go after it, I get it, and I am able to keep it peacefully, enjoy it, and keep it in the way, whatever it means. So it says, Durandara, Dharati. He is beholding and supporting this responsibility of your yoga kshema. So that is the meaning. The Lord is having the burden or the responsibility of making sure that your yoga kshema is taken care. In the same context only in Bhagavad Gita also it says yoga kshemam vahamyaham. That's also used the word vahamyaham. That's a dhara. Dhara and vaha are the same equivalent verbs in Sanskrit. Support, behold, keep, retain. If you want to say all that, you can use vaha and dhara. Here you use, right? So yoga kshema durandarasya. Oh Lord, you are the beholder, supporter of my yoga and kshema. Yoga kshema durandarasya. Sakala shreya. See this word again, shreyas, is a very, very important word. One Upanishad is only on that. The entire Kathopanishad is all about prayers and shreyas only. When these Nachiketas, that story of the father wanting to do an yajna, And as part of Yajna, when he was giving dana, this father was doing fantastic cost benefit. How you can minimize your expenditure and hopefully maximize your return. So the young boy was not very happy about it. Primarily because he thought the uddesha of my father may become nashta. You should do it, in all our, whatever we do even today. Sometimes we take a negative approach to it. If you call a Purohit, whether you call it for, to do a Mahalaya Paksha, Shraddha or some puja or something, you will find 70% of the mantras will be only about dana. The mantra will be like that. Swarnam, the wife will be called, you say, put water on the betel leaf and all that. Point is, many of our rituals, it is inbuilt that it is an opportunity to actually give. The dhanam, yajnadana tapakarmaha pavanani manishinam is what Gita says. It cleans your mind. Your thoughts get clean when you learn how to give. Giving is not easy. There is one Upanishad, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The last chapter, I think, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad is Da Da Da. It's a very nice story. Da Da Da. So Prajapati called first the Asuras, Devas. And what do you understand by Da? Then Devas said, Da means we need Dhamma. We are uncontrolled in our enjoyment. So Dhamma, what we have understood by the word Da is Dhamma. That's what they said. Then Prajapati called the Rakshasas. He said, Da 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 is the sound of the thunder. I mean, the Upanishad stories are so nicely written like that. The whole says there is a sound of Da 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 by the thunder. So Prajapati called and asked, what does it mean? What does Da mean? So Deva said Da means Dhamma, because we are enjoying too much. We need to have sense control. That's what they understood. Call the Rakshasas. Prajapati called the Rakshasa. What do you understand by Da? He said, Daya, we are too cruel. We have to have a little compassion. That's what the Rakshasas said. Prajapati called the Manushyas. What did you understand by that? Manushya said, Dana, we are not giving. We should learn to give a little more. So like that it says. So the Dana is very, very, very important. So this boy, coming back to this story, so this boy was thinking the father is not doing it properly, so he will not get what he wants. He was very irritated, so he actually asked his father, whom am I going to give me? He was pestering him again and again. So out of fist of anger, the father said, I'll give you to Amma. The father got so angry because the small boy was all the time pestering him. So he said, I'll give you to Amma. So the boy went to Amma Patna. That's the start of the Kathopanishad anyway. Because the boy felt that if that is not completed, his yajna will become null. Effect will be gone. And then in the conversation, the first valli of Kathopanishad, you should read, Yama pleases him with all kinds of riches. The boy says, keep all of that with you. Because one day you will also go, I will also go, I don't need all these. Tell me about death. All these you keep. All these are perishable. I don't want perishable inventory. The whole world is going after perishables. We are all going after perishables. Name is perishable, fame is perishable, money is perishable, ego is perishable, respect is perishable, relatives are perishable, assets are perishable. We don't have to have udasina, but we do too much importance to it. We need to know about how much importance we should keep. I didn't mean all these are perishable, so you be very indifferent. I am not saying that, but we seem to be excessively we have not understood that part of it. So then Yama discusses what is called Shreyas and Preyas. To tell it very nicely, we can take a shloka from Gita that will explain it very well. In Gita, in chapter 18, Krishna talks about what is called Satvika Sukha and Rajasika Sukha. Sukha can be Tamasic, Rajasic and Satvik. That's the third triplet of Bhagavad Gita is only about this. So he says, Yet Arambe Vishamiva, Pariname Amritam. Arambe Visham. When you start, you don't like it. You find it, oh, this is too difficult. But if you are able to cross a threshold, you are able to handle it, then opens the highway. Pariname Amritam. That is Satvika. That is Shreyas. What is Preyas? Arambe Amritam. Pariname Visham. Initially, it is all very interesting. After some time, that becomes our limitation of life. So that is Preyas and Shreyas. The boy is asking. You can use other words also. You can say Priyam and Hitam. A Shreyas is Hitam, not necessarily Priyam. It may be Priyam, it may not. Whereas a Preyas is Priyam, but it may not be Hitam. It is not probably good for you, but it looks attractive. Attractive is different from good. Right? Sometimes what is attractive may not be good. Sometimes both can go together. By and large, I am saying. So, Shreyas is more important than Preyas. That's why he says, Sakala Shreya Prada Udyogina. You are in the job of giving only Shreyas. Udyogina means job. Udyoga means job, no? So he says, you are in the job of giving all kinds of Shreyas to me. So that's the second prayer he is making. First prayer said, you guarantee you have taken the responsibility of my yoga and Kshema. That's the first thing. Second thing he says, my Shreyas, you are in the job of giving me that Sakala Shreyas. That's why Dvavido Vedokto Dharma Pravritti Lakshano Nivritti Lakshanascha Jagataha Sthiti Karanam. Sakshat Praninam Abhyudaya Nishreyasa Hetuhu. When we pursue our life, there are two paths to it. One is called Abhyudaya, which is materialism, which is fine. We need. We need some security. We need to make sure we live 3 meals a day, take care of our children, medical expenses. I'm not saying none of the. Shankaracharya also says that. It's called Abhyudaya. But we also need Nishreyas. Nishreyas is I should come home and sleep, no? If I cannot come home and sleep, what is this whole idea of working and all that? If I can't get sleep, that Nishreyas is equally important. So, Pravritti Lakshana is as important as Nivritti Lakshana. We have to balance it. So, he talks about Sakala Shreyas. Sakala Shreya Prada Udyogina. One who can give the entire, is the habit of giving the Shreyas to everyone. Then he says, Drishta Mata Upadesha Kritinah. Drishta and Adrishta. These words we use in a very common parlance we use, Drishta and Adrishta. See, in simple terms, Drishta is, I hope this thing is on. Yeah, it is still going on. Yeah. Zoom is, no, sometimes it goes, but it looks like it's okay. Yeah. So, Drishta is what you can see is only confined to what is called Pratyaksha Anumana. What you can see is only with your sensory organs. See is a very, you have to take a broader sense of the term Drishta. Hearing is also Drishta. Smelling is also Drishta. Feeling is also, so the Jnanendriyas. What you can verify with your Indriyas, what you can verify with all your sensory organs is called Drishta. That is something science actually relies only on that. Science cannot go beyond on. I think you should switch it on. So that is Drishta. Whereas Adrishta is something which is beyond the realm of our ability to infer using our Indriyas. That is called Adrishta. So that's why he said he got Adrishta means you can't look for it, but you'll experience it. Somehow you experience it. But you can't, if you look for it, you don't find it because it is beyond the domain of our ability to comprehend using our Indriyas. So that is called Drishta. It's not on, I think. It's okay. No, one say simple switch, not a long switch. It's coming now. It's coming. So, Drishta and Adrishta covers the whole gamut of knowledge that one can ever get. The Adrishta can be out of intuition. Intuition cannot be verified scientifically, cannot be tested, put it into a laboratory or, count or anything like that. You can use Anumana and you can infer. The Pratyaksha is not possible. Through Anumana, you can do an experiment and confirm the intuition, confirm what is being intuited is probably all that we can do. But our gamut of knowledge is Drishta and Adrishta. So, Drishta, Adrishta, Mata, all the knowledge we gain, all the Atma Vidya is Adrishta. The Apara Vidya and Para Vidya in Mundakopanishad, The Paravidya is Adrishta. The Aparavidya is what, that's why he said Rigveda, Yajurveda. He put a long list. In one shot, he destroyed the question of Shaunakasya Mahashalaya Vidivat Angirasam Papracha Kasmin Vijnate Sarvamitam Vijnatam Bhavati iti. By knowing that I'll be known of everything, in one shot he said Rigveda, Yajurveda, all these are all Aparavidya. Paravidya is what you experience, for which you don't need any of these indriyas. It is an internal, so Atma Vidya. So what is it is saying? Saying he is responsible to create that knowledge and experience in us. That's what this means. Drishta Adrishta Mata Upadesha Kritinah. You only make me go through that path of evolution. You only have, with your grace, and only because of you it is happening. So that is the Drishta Adrishta Mata Upadesha Kritinah. Bahya Antaravyapinah. Antar Bahistitam Vyapyanara Yanastitah. In Narayana Sutta it is there. I mean, this is, God is everywhere. In fact, God is everywhere. That is a very fundamental definition. It may be difficult for us to, as a concept, we may understand. That is of no use. We have to experience that feeling and all that. That is the challenging part. Conceptually, we can write 100 on 100. We keep a test also, I'll get 100 marks. That's a different story. But Bahya Antaravyapinah. He is inside Chetak Kohare Panchamukos the Mekuto Bihi. 10 slokas from now it will come in Shivananda Lahari. You are sitting in that Kuhara. Kuhara is that cave in the heart. You are sitting there. Why am I worried? Where is my fear? Where is my source for fear? Is what Shankaracharya is saying later. So in everybody's inside that, again, in Bhagavad Gita in 18th chapter it is there. Entra Ruda Mayaya. He says, I am into Arjuna Hriddese Tishtati. Ramayan Sarva Bhutanam. I am sitting there and then doing everything. That's what Gita and Gita, Krishna also says. So it is in everyone, it is everywhere. Pahyam Antaravyapina. What does it mean? That means he must be a Sarvajna. If I am here, I don't know what is happening in the next room. If I am in Madras in a particular house, I don't know what is happening here. If I am everywhere, that means I will become Sarvajna. So automatically the next one, this is a Sarvajna. Sarvajnasya. He is a Sarvajna. We are all Alpajna. Our knowledge is conditioned. There is a certain knowledge which we grow it in our own ways. But he is a Sarvajna. We are an Alpajna. Sarvajnasya Dayakarasya. He is a ocean of compassion. He is a Daya Sindhu. So Shankaracharya says, all these are you. When you have all these, why am I going to come and ask you something? Because you know everything. You have taken the responsibility of my Yogakshema. You make sure that you give me all the shreyas. These are all your responsibility. Why am I going to come and ask you anything? When we have the habit of going to the temple and long list, some people go to the extent of saying, if you are lucky, you'll get 21 coconuts. So it's a transactional arrangement also with Ganapati and all that. I mean, that shows a certain level of our understanding of things. So he says, Bhavataha kim veditavyam maya. I mean, it sounds so foolish to me to even ask you something. Because you are everywhere. You have already taken responsibility of, see, if somebody, think about it, forget about this. Suppose, you have taken responsibility of doing something. And if I have faith in you, I should not keep asking you every now and then. You will only get irritated. Half the way, you'll throw it on me and go. I think you have faith and then you leave it and I know he will do and so he does. So in the same way, even in a small thing like that, with this kind of a thing, so Shankaracharya says, Bhavataha kim veditavyam maya. Because you are taking care of everything. Right? Shambho tvam parama antaranga. So you are so close to me. Because you have taken charge of everything. You have completely taken charge of everything. So, Parama Antaranga. You are not just Antaranga. You are Parama Antaranga. The adjective is ultimate. Parama is ultimate, na? So, Parama Antaranga iti me chitte. I am telling my mind. Smarami. I remember in mind 24/7 that you are so intimate to me and you take care of everything that is required, so I don't have to ask anything to you. Look at the Baba here. He's coming from a different. In another shloka, he said, give me this, give me that. This is the mind of a bhakta. So he says, Tvam parama antarangaha iti me chitte smarami anvaham. Anvaham is pratidinam, sada, forever. All that is what it really means. So he said, I don't have to ask you anything. I don't have to ask you. In fact, even if you look at the Draupadi episode, see, the stories are all quite deep. When she was dragged to the court, and when Duryodhana asked Dushadana to, disrobe her and so on, until she took her hands off, help was not coming. That's a story. Real, whatever, let it be. What is the sukshma there? The sukshma is, if we are willing to take faith in the Lord and then surrender to the Lord, our problems will actually be solved. We are not going there. Surrender, belief, all these are very tough, I am telling you. It's not easy. Particularly for these educated people, it is impossible. Because the education has corrupted our mind so much. Because particularly if you take a management education, it's all what is called agency cost. Principal agent problem. This is what we teach in management. In a practical sense, at one level, it is okay. But what I am saying, our ability to take our hands off and have a strong belief that there is a larger force which is actually taking care of me, lot of our problems will melt. That is the message here. Our problems will melt not by saying, I am going to solve the problem. If you end up saying you will solve the problem, you will get into health problems. We should make an attempt. Finally, you leave it to the Lord. 1 hour in the morning, you just surrender everything to the Lord and say, whatever you do, you do. I am just nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. As an instrument, I will keep going. That manobhava is not easy. But that manobhava is a true manobhava of a bhakta. So that is the message that is coming in this particular shloka. We go to the next shloka. There are a few, I think, antar bahichada sarvam vyapya narayana stitaha. Antarsya bahichya tat sarvam vyapya narayana stitaha. That's what Narayana Sukta, that particular mantra is there. In fact, Mundaka Upanishad, this mantra is there. We saw it recently. Brahmaivedam amritam purastat brahma paschat brahma dakshinat cha uttarena. You take south, north, up, down, wherever you see only Brahman. That, right? Adascha, below, urdhvam, up. Brahmaivedam vishwamidam varishtam. The whole world is nothing but Brahman. Every Upanishad, every, stotras, our Gita, everything will emphasize this. Yet we will find it very difficult to buy this idea. So as somebody was saying, one of the famous pravachaka I was hearing, he said one day he called one fellow buffalo. He immediately got up. He got very annoyed. He said, I called you Brahman 1,000 times, you never got up. You never got up. I said, you are a Brahman. So these ideas are ideas. Moment I say buffalo, somewhere you got all your energy. He said, how can you say MA? So like that. This is but I think we have to live through it. We have to consume it. Consume it in our own ways. I mean, all that is not going to happen in one shot or anything like that. We have to be on that path. Right? Yachapi sarva bhutanam in chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. Yascha api sarva bhutanam bijam. The seed of sarva bhutas, not sarva manushya's. Sarva bhutas, which means the plants, the living beings, name anything, rocks and rivers. Anything. The bija. Tadaham Arjuna. At the end of Vibhuti Yoga, he comes with this conclusion. Finally, he tells Arjuna, at the end of Vibhuti Yoga. In another 4 shlokas, Vibhuti Yoga will be over in chapter 10 of Gita. Bijam tat aham Arjuna. Na tat asti vina. Yat syat maya bhutam characharam. Without me, you cannot think of anything which is moving or unmoving. That's what he said in Vibhuti Yoga. So every scripture will say it. Antarbahicha is a very, very fertile idea, but It will not even penetrate us that easily. We have to really do mantanam, mananam, everything we have to keep doing to even travel an epsilon in that path. Okay. The next shloka is a very interesting shloka. So what I will do is I will go through this particular thing that we are used to. See, whenever we do anything at home, we do what is called punyaha vachanam. First, the Vadyar, when he comes, he'll ask for a kumbha. In your list, he'll also given number 10 thread and all that. You will get all that. So he will do all this. So I put the figure to be absolutely sure. So this punyaha vachanam has these components. Coming to think of it, the figure also has it. You need a kalasha or a kumbha or whatever you need. That's the first thing that you need. Then you need a thread for wrapping it around. Right? Now, as somebody was saying, this wrapping of this thread around this vessel is done in such a way that it will not cover the vessel fully. Because it is actually signifying the Brahman is you, but you don't know it. You don't know it very partially. You don't know. There's no clarity. Nor you should cover it completely. Then it is camouflaged completely. So to give that sanketa. So anyway, thread is required to nicely wind it like that. Then there is water inside. Because in our Vedic culture, in the Vedika Parambara, right, everything is done only with water and Agni. These are only two things. Both are called Pavakas. And Vayu. Vayu is also called Pavakaha. Suddhi Karoti iti. But for the purpose of all our Vedic activities, we need either water or fire, maybe both. So in Punyaha Vachana, it is actually water. Because the Varuna is invoked. What the Vadyar does is, he invokes Varuna there. First thing he does is he invokes Varuna there. And then mantras are told and that kind of a thing happens. So the it has come. So the third thing is water. You need water. Then the fourth thing that you need is leaves. Mango leaves. Now the idea of mango leaves, somebody recently also was saying, the idea of putting mango leaves at the front door, apparently it has antiviral some properties. I mean, it emits that kind of, I don't know what it emits. So mango leaf can only be used. You cannot use any other leaf. That Punyaha Vachana and all that, they want only Mavine Soppu, right? Because that has that unique property of protecting us from many things, which our ancestors have found in their own ways. Today, some people have done some, I read some recently something that they have actually figured out that it has some properties. So we need leaves. Then you need coconut. They put coconut on the top, as you see in the figure, because that is an indication of Purnatva, completeness. That sense of completeness which is required, right? Purnamadam Purnam. Purnat Purnamudachyate, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vasishyate, Purnamada Purnam. It's all about that sense of completeness. So you need that coconut. Then, of course, they recite mantra. The typical mantra they recite is actually Pavamana Sukta. Rigveda Pavamana Sukta is 500 mantras. It will take 2 hours to properly recite. Whereas there is a Pavamana mantra in Yajurveda. That's what they will recite only that. It's 5 minutes. They recite that because that mantra itself is a purification mantra to be uttered to purify. That's why it's called Pavamana Suktam. Now, this is that mantra. Hiranyavarna Shuchayappa Vakaya Sujata Kashyapoya Svindraha Agnim Yagarbam Dadire Virupastana Apushyagyasyona Bhavanti. Like that it goes. Just about 10-12 mantras are there. So mantras are required. So they recite the mantras. Then you need a place to purify. Na? You don't just do it and then leave. Typically what they do is before we start any ritual at home, the home has to be, that is the idea. It has to be all, Ashocha, whatever would have been there. So they invoke Varuna and then they do the Varuna Japa. Then they do the Punyaha Vachana mantras, which are all Pavamana Sukta. And then, of course, before that, they may do a Ganapati Puja and all that they may do. I am talking about only the Punyaha Vachana. Then they, Varunasya Yathastanam Kritva, they, send Varuna, receiving the blessings. Then they take that's what they do. No, Shankaracharya has taken exactly this. In fact, many shlokas that are going to come will be like this. It will all have a double meaning. Same shloka can be interpreted for, in this particular shloka is going to be about Punyaha Vachanam, but it's also about us. So double meaning shlokas will come, quite a few will come. About 6-7 shlokas, one after the other is the next, before 50th shloka, I find 5-6 of them. So this shloka is about Punyaha Vachanam. So before that, I thought I will just take you through these rudimentary things, though we know the one-to-one correspondence that Acharya brings through his shlokas. I thought I will just take this. So this is, now with that we will see the shloka. Bhakto bhakti gunavrite mudamrita purne prasanne manaha kumbe sambatavangri pallava yugam samstapya samvitpalam Satvam mantra mudireyan nija shariragara shuddhim vahan punyaham prakati karomi ruchiram kalyanam apadayan. A very beautiful shloka. Bhaktaha bhakti guna avrite. Bhakti guna avrite. Bhakti guna avrite. Savarna dirgha. Bhakti guna avrite mudam Amrita apurne prasanne manaha kumbe samba, he samba, that is a sambodhana for Lord Shiva, he samba, tava angri pallava yugam samstapya samvitpalam satvam mantram udirayan is present continuous. If you want to say present continuous, gachan, patan, Shunvan, Ashnan, in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6, there is one shloka like that, all present continuous in that Atma Samyama Yoga. So it's a present continuous. So, Mantram Udireyan, reciting the mantra, Nija Sharira Agara Shuddhim Vahan, okay, Punyaham Prakati Karomi, Ruchiram Kalyanam Apadayan. Now, let us first see the elements of Punyaha Vachana here first. Then we'll relate it to us. Right? Guna means thread. Another meaning for guna is thread. So here, for the kalasha, you need a thread, no? Here the thread is actually bhakti. Bhakti is the thread. You use the bhakti as the thread for a certain Punyaha Vachana which Acharya is talking about. Bhakti guna avrite. You engulf that place. We'll see what is that place. Engulf that place with bhakti. That place is your own antakarana actually. So think of your antakarana as the kumbha now. That is what is going to be carrying everything. So bhakti guna avrite. With the thread called bhakti, you cover yourself. Which means you travel on the path of bhakti. Develop that bhakti bhava and go on it a few deeper and deeper. Bhakti guna avrite. Then amrita purne, the water, the nectar or the water that you have to fill is muda. The joy you get out of this bhakti that you experience that gives you a certain joy. That muda is the amrita purna. So in that kumbha of this antakarana, you try the thread called bhakti and fill it with the joy. Because of the bhakti, you experience joy, no? Fill it with the joy. So now the patra is ready. You have tied the thread, we have filled the water. Okay, Amrita Purne, Prasanne Mane Kumbe. This is the kumbha now. What is the patra? Patra is the Prasanna Mana. Mind which is not agitated. The manas which is not agitated. Why the manas is not agitated? Because bhakti guna vrite. The bhakti is taking the tension out of you. So prasanna gambira manas, prasanna gambira atma. That prasannata is what is the kumbha. In that kumbha, as you keep putting the thread, the kumbha becomes much better. That's why the manas becomes even more prasanna. Okay. So prasanne manaha kumbe, hey Samba, tava angri, pallava yugalam. Your pallava, your padara vindana, that is the leaf now. I am placing your padara vinda here. Imagine this. That padara vinda of my Ishta Devata is all the time in my manas. So that forms that leaf, and that is the leaf of protection. Just as this, this mango leaf is very important for protection. So the Tava Pallava, Angri Pallava Yugam. Yuga is a pair, right? So, you put this so-called leaves, equivalent of the mango leaves is your, this thing, samstapya. I place it properly. Stapayati is placed. Sam is the upasarga. Samyak. Properly I place it, which means my bhakti is become a little drida because your padara vinda is here. It is registered here. That's what it means. Samstapya. Okay. Then you need a coconut, na? Samvit palam. You have got the clarified knowledge now. That knowledge is the coconut, which you are keeping in this kumbha. Samvit palam. Okay, that jnana that you got by the grace of the Lord, whatever jnana you are able to, jnana sampadana that happened to you, that becomes a coconut now. So, samvit palam, sattvam mantram udirayan. And what is the mantra I am telling? Maybe, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayana, some mantra I am saying. Sattvam mantra, that bring the sattvic element of me. Manyantam trayate iti mantra. You keep repeating it, it protects you. That's why it's called mantra. Manyantam trayate iti mantra. So, sattvam mantram udirayan. I keep reciting maybe Om Namo Narayana, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narsimhaya, or Ishta Devata, whatever it is. Om Namo Namak Krishnaya, Bala Krishnaya, whatever you want to say. That is the mantra which is to be recited for that kumbha for purification. Right? You need some mantra, na? So that is the mantra. Sattvam mantram udirayan. With that, Nija Sharira Agara Shuddhim Vahan. So I have my Antakarana is now, I have now sprinkled this joy into me. Joy is the water. Right? The Amritam is Muda is the Amrita, na? So I have sprinkled this water all over in my Antakarana. So now my Antakarana has purified. So he has done a Punyaha Vachanam now. The equivalent of each one of them is available here. Okay? Ahara Shuddhim Vahan. By doing that, Punyaham Prakati Karomi. This is how I do Punyaha Vachanam for myself. Swapunyaha Vachanam. Antarmukha Punyaha Vachanam. So that is how he is actually bringing Punyaham Prakati Karomi Ruchiram Kalyanam Apadayan. Kalyanam Bhavatu. It will only good things will happen. I don't have to worry about any other things. Only good things will happen because I am a bhakta. I use bhakti as the thread. I wind it around my manas. Otherwise, manas is very distracting. Manayeva manushyanam karanam bandhamokshayoho. Right? Achanchalam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. Abhyasena tu kaunte vairagyena cha grihhyate. These are the abhyasa. And that developed the vairagya. As Krishna told to Arjuna in chapter 6 when he asked. Right? He said, all that you are said about it, meditation are all very nice. Forget it. That's what Arjuna said. Arjuna was not just listening to Krishna hopelessly. It was a very beautiful conversation. He challenged him. Very nicely asked. No, all these won't work. Pramadi balavadradam. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayor sudushkaram. It's like catching air in an open place. All your meditation ideas are all very good. Keep it. It's not going to work. Then he said, Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. I agree 100% with you. I don't beg to differ with you. I 100% agree with you. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihhyate. So for the manas, use the bhakti as the thread and keep on, covering it. So this fellow cannot go here and there. And out of that, get the muda. Get that joy. That joy is the water that you get, which has to be sprinkled into the antakarana. Finally, after Punya Vachana, you have to sprinkle the water, na? So that is a Muda. Prasannamane Kumbe. Very nicely, that is what Shankaracharya actually brings in this particular shloka. So this is what it is. The Kumbha is the Prasanna Manas in this Punyaha Vachanam that we all can do. We don't need a Vadyar for it. We don't need a Purohit for it. It is all Swakarma for us, Swadhyaya for us. So Kumbha is the Prasanna Manas. Thread for wrapping around is the Bhakti, right? The Amrita water is the joy and contentment that we experience. That has to sprinkle, not our distress, not our, we have everything. Who said we have only, only good things will happen are all nonsense. That's not reality. Both will happen. It is our element of wisdom that we should be able to know what to make sense of it. So joy and contentment has to be sprinkled. So that's the water. Shiva's divine feet is the mango leaves that you have to mount, right? The coconut is the jnana or the purified knowledge. Samvitpalam, that is the coconut. The mantra to recite is Panchakshari, Ashtakshari, Dwadashakshari, Navakshari. So much are there. It all depends on our Ishtadevata. We have to only keep reciting that mantra for the Punyaha Vachana to happen, right? To fructify. So that is the mantra. And the place to be purified is our Sharira. That's what, so very beautifully Shankaracharya has brought the idea, he has used the known concept of Punyaha Vachanam and then maps it to the Bhakti. So there are a few shlokas like this, which, you can travel on both directions. You can look at it purely as a Punyaha Vachana. You can see it as a Bhakti element also. It's a certain Alankara, which he has adopted. So you see that here. I think with that, we will close for the day. It's 7 o'clock. So I think we will close it for the day. And we will meet next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shubharatrihi.